Hello, welcome back everybody. Let's have a look at some of these charts then, shall we? And look at some of the sort of my favourite altcoins as well as Bitcoin. But we'll look at these two charts first of all. So we've got the Bitcoin dominance pushing its way up towards 70, which is obviously good for Bitcoin, not so good for the majority of altcoins. I'm expecting this to really persevere and get all the way up to 70, which basically means that sats are going to be crushed generally, apart from a few obviously. Now I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. Don't take what I say as any kind of signal or anything like that. You need to do your own research and invest wisely. It's just my take on the market. But also looking at the Bitcoin, the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, it's actually got a bullish chart too. So this is what I mean. Bitcoin dominance might be high, but for altcoins they will all generally make money versus dollar. But Bitcoin is probably going to be the front runner to the majority of that profit. But most altcoins, at least the top cap coins, should be doing okay according to this chart too. So let's have a look at Bitcoin, see what we can work out from here. So we're looking at Bitcoin here on the weekly chart. So this is the parabolic top in 2018. This isn't exactly a trend line yet. It's not really been proven or anything, but I'm waiting to see if it gets tested and if it has any relevance to it. It's coinciding with an area of resistance now, which would be quite interesting. So it could be a coincidence, but I'm using it as a trend line also, as a bit of a signal for myself. So what we're looking at here, the top of the parabolic move there, all the way up to 20, this area here from last year, 14, and if we were to come back up to test areas of 10,500, or should we say 10,640, that's where it is roughly at the moment. We're measuring on wicks, not candlestick bodies. That's where I would look for a rejection, and if we didn't get a rejection, I would expect a giant move up, a really big one in fact, because we're starting and breaking out of the trend. So this could be the start of a really significant move with Bitcoin. And looking at the RSI on the weekly, everything's looking quite nice. We've got RSI in a comfortable place. We've got a fresh cross on the MACD there, so that's all quite positive. On the daily, and daily MACD looks like it wants to cross. RSI is not in any way overbought or anything like that, so we could easily make that way up, and I think we will be making that way up to 10,500 relatively soon. I can't really give you a time frame on that, but another thing we do have is this golden cross incoming on Bitcoin. That's likely to happen in the next few days, so there's every expectation now that this will reach areas of 10,500, but whether it's rejected or if it continues from there, that will be the interesting thing. I don't really think that a chart like this is likely to fail at this level. We will probably find a pullback on it, and that pullback could be quite deep. It could be bringing us all the way down to the 200 exponential, or depending on where the 50 is, bringing us down to the 50 exponential. And like I say, this could happen over the next few days. It might even happen next week. But these are the areas I'll be looking to see it get pulled back down onto. The candle bodies appear to be getting pulled back and closing above the center of the Bollinger Band on the daily chart, so that's also an area where we could pick up some support as well. So to be honest with you, we're looking at areas of pretty much not any lower than 8,800 with a steep chart like this. If we did come back down below there, I don't think we'll be testing the bottom of the Bollinger Band. I think we'll be looking at these two moving averages here, the 50 or the 55 or the 200. Anyway, we've had some decent moves these last few days. I think it doesn't look like it wants to pull back specifically. It doesn't look like it wants to pull back at all. The top of the Bollinger Band is just above 10,180. But the 10,500 is my area of choice. I'm not looking to short it or buy it. I'm waiting to see what happens with this trend line and with that area, and then I'll be making my move. The Ethereum chart's looking pretty good as well. In fact, it's looking better in many ways. I was waiting for a pullback on this one. I actually shorted it during the halving. It didn't work out too well for me. I thought we were going to pull back a little further, but we didn't. So long on this one at the moment. I pull back, probably back down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. Wouldn't be too out of the realms of possibilities, because we've got heavy support here, green 50, white 200 EMA. We've also got the bottom of the Bollinger Band. If we did pull back, if Bitcoin decided to crash, I think we'd pull back and we'd easily close above here, and that would be a nice area to buy back at. Obviously I've got my stop losses in, so if anything went wrong, I'd just try that move again. So yeah, that is looking like a very good chart. RSI is in a nice comfortable position. We don't have a cross on the MACD, but we're looking like we're going to get one in the next few days. Ethereum Classic's one that's on my radar at the moment. It's not really got a great chart, but I think it's got the possibility to do some decent moves once a couple of these areas have been taken out. So we're trending generally beneath all major moving averages. Just get above the green 50, that's fine. A big collapse here on halving day. And it would have been a good place to buy it up, but I put my money into Matic instead, which I'm very, very happy I did. But if you watched my video a few days back, maybe about last week, because I don't make these videos daily, I did say I was expecting a 35% move from Matic, and we got that, and I think a little more than that actually, but I sold around about the 32% mark, so decent profit made there. And Matic's usually one of these coins that I always like to chart, because I've studied it almost on a daily basis for over a year now, I think, and I'm kind of familiar with its moves. We'll move on to Matic anyway, so we'll just carry on with Ethereum Classic. We'll get rejected here on the 9 EMA, and it's not looking bullish at all, but when we go out a little bit further, it has the opportunity to make a decent move, like a really, really, really big move, and you want to get in there before we have this golden cross. So if this is a coin that I'm very close to buying up at the moment, despite the fact that my money would be better off in other coins like Ethereum or Bitcoin, because when we do have a big move and we do have a golden cross, we will likely have a giant move. And I'm talking 50% perhaps on this one, but at the moment the chart doesn't say it wants to do that yet. It doesn't look specifically bullish. This is just a daily chart, and you can see that actually, we're not quite ready for that yet. However, I am. It's in my crosshairs. I'm very close to buying it up because I do want a 50% move. I'm not saying this is definitely going to do anything like that, but it has made bold moves in the past. And I think at this price at the moment, I think it's slightly undervalued for what it is. But all eyes will generally be on Ethereum, normal Ethereum, standard Ethereum. Right, let's move on to Chainlink. So Chainlink, I've actually bought some of this up because this chart is definitely a good diversifying chart. This is the main reason I actually decided to hold quite a fair chunk of it. If we look at this chart, what we see is on the daily chart, we've not had a death cross. We've come close to it, we've been zigzagging, we're making higher highs essentially each time. This chart does not look like a Bitcoin chart. It actually does its own thing, and I'm very happy to hold it at this point. Now that was one hell of a nasty wick. That was unbelievable. That was unlike any of the other coins you'll find. So it did fall pretty badly, but one hell of a bounce. I mean, I'd just discount that. That was close to zero basically. So I'd be very surprised if anyone ever got in at that. But if they did, they'll be laughing, and they'll be laughing for a long time, because I think this chart's basically going to continue making higher highs at this point now. The thing is, like I say, it's very volatile. It's not made its death cross. It wanted to do one here. It definitely came close to doing it there. It could have done it here as well. And I'm not saying it's not going to have another giant dip. It could quite easily do a dip all the way down to at least $3 or so. But for the moment, it's holding on tight. It's holding on strong. And I think we're going to start to have a bit of a pinch take place here on the daily chart. I think it's going to make a move either up or down quite significantly, but my guess would be that over time it's more than likely just going to continue to go up. It's a pretty bullish chart on the long term, despite how volatile it is, clearly. So I'm holding on to this one at the moment. This is one of my major holdings at the moment, and I'll be looking to continue this past the $4 and $5 mark. This is a bit of a hodl for me at the moment because I don't have as much time to trade as I used to, because, well, kids, work, and various other commitments. So Chainlink looking pretty good there. RSI is a very comfortable position, and the MACD's not looking too strong, to be honest with you. Bit of divergence on the bullish side there, but at the moment it's not looking very strong. Again, similar to Ethereum Classic, I think this is one of those coins which is likely to make a big move, but not quite yet. And Matic, so we had that move that we wanted. Looking at this on the daily, it looks like it wants to make our golden cross shortly. I think because we're way overextended right now at the moment now, we're going to have to come back down to at least get back inside the Bollinger Band on the daily chart. Ideally, probably come back down to test around areas such as maybe 1.8 cent. Might not happen though, because Matic likes to FOMO, and we could be on the verge of FOMO. We have a look back in time. The last time we traded this was back here. This was a different setup completely. We had nice accumulation taking place here above all major moving averages, and because of that, it was a decent time to get in on that. Our MACD was above the 0 point for all of this time. It was wanting to go down. It wanted to go down a little bit, but it didn't. And then finally, what actually happened is that there was a bit of a breakdown, and that basically enabled people to buy it back up at this crucial level, 1.2 cent. This has been an area for Matic where it loves to bounce at, so we bought it. We've been buying it throughout this whole time, or I had at least. The people in my Telegram group, I think, had largely been doing that too. This was the bounce that it basically created the giant move. Then when we collapsed, and that epic collapse that we had, it was the 1.2 cent area where it was bought back up at. That would have been 100, close to a. Where was it? It came back down here to test it again, and then all the way back up to 2 cent again. So the 1.2 cent area is an area to be buying it up at. And then recently, what happened, obviously because of this massive crypto and financial crash, we came all the way back down here. Now, like I say, you see things like Chainlink, you see things like Bitcoin, all coins completely collapsed. But Matic, if you think about it, what it's done here, if you bought it back here and you've held it all the way to the top, that's 242% move to the up currently. So that's pretty bold. And let's have a look at some of these magical areas. 1 cent and more or less 1.2 cent here is where we bounced from again. So 1.2 cent was the ricochet level, coming back down to test here, bounced up from here. Now, I didn't buy any of it around this level. I just bought it just recently after the halving, because I saw this happening and I thought, well, to be honest with you, it's likely to have this move. We look at it on some of these smaller time frames. Well, I say smaller. When we look at it on some of these lower time frames in the 12 hourly, this is where I definitely decided I was going to take this, because I saw that this was taking a move to the up. We had our golden cross on our 12 hourly. I thought this is likely to play out, but sooner rather than later. Waited for a pullback, wanted a pullback to come back down to test this level here of 1.5. And you'll see this if you look back at my video. This was my plan. I wanted to buy it around this level. I saw it crash back down. I managed to get it just under there, around 1.5. And now we've sailed it all the way up here. Now, I sold around this level here just before we got to 2 cent, because 2 cent I thought would be a rejection for it. It did move a little further, but I think it's a tiny bit of FOMO was left in it. Now, we've got a golden cross on the 12 hourly, so that's looking to play out, and we're waiting for the golden cross to play out on the daily, which won't happen for a few days yet. MACD looking pretty good, looking very good actually, but the RSI is quite extended on this one. So this coin doesn't trade with enormous amount of volume. It's a low cap coin despite its popularity, so it doesn't take a great deal of money going in or out to make moves. Plus, it's tradable with leverage, so that basically makes it a little more volatile to the down. There's incentive for people to short this now on Binance, and like I say, when you see moves like this and like this, then obviously there is much incentive to short it. I mean, that was a 70% move to the down in the space of a few hours, really. So that makes it slightly more dangerous. So wait for a pullback on this one is what I'm looking to do now, and then re-enter, looking for another big move, probably up to around about 2.4, maybe 2.6 cent. But areas such as 2.7, massive rejection from there last time, and 2.7 and 3 cent. They're the areas that always will be rejection, and probably I wouldn't expect it to break above there yet. But the chart's looking quite good. So 2.7 cent is always going to be the main thing for Matic. So next time you're buying on this one, 2.7 cent would be the rejection that I would expect. So look to maybe front run that one, maybe sell it around 2.6, wait for the rejection, buy it back. That would be my plan. So just a short and sweet video for you, just to let you know the nature of the market right now. Like I say, I'm expecting a rejection from Bitcoin, more likely to receive a rejection than a continuation, but if we did get continuation, it would be massive. If we got a rejection, it would be a rejection for each one of these. They will fall with Bitcoin, and they've all got their own little places that they would want to fall down to. Ethereum basically likes to come down to at least 186. Ethereum Classic easily come down to 5.5. Chainlink $3, and Matic could I mean, given the momentum it's got right now, about 1.8 cent, but you know, it could completely come all the way back down to 1.6 cent again. Either way, you know, this is the moment. These are the moments where you want to have your finger on the trigger, waiting to make a purchase or a sell. Everything depends on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is getting very close to what I would consider to be a significant rejection point. So we all do have to be very careful with RSI teetering towards the top areas. Unless there's massive FOMO involved, there's going to be a pullback, and then they should have continuation. But remember that Bitcoin dominance is getting relatively high, so you know, if you just want to trade Bitcoin, it might not be unwise to do that, but there are other opportunities there that could prevail, and these, in my book, are likely to just be a small handful of those. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. Join my Telegram group if you want to find out more, and have a chat with me and other people on there who are equally, if not more knowledgeable and more active, in fact, than I am these days. So yeah, there's a link on the channel, so feel free to join. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. See you later.